December 26th, 2004. It's the morning after Christmas, and on the beaches across the Indian Ocean, children were building sandcastles, fishermen prepared their nets, and the tourists were enjoying the sun. Within hours, the sea itself would rise up. A colossal earthquake beneath the ocean floor would send walls of water racing towards the unsuspecting shores, changing the lives of millions in an instant. Welcome back to Nightmare Situations. This is the story of the Indian Ocean tsunami, one of the deadliest natural disasters recorded in history, and the lessons that it left behind. The Indian Ocean is the world's third largest ocean. It's bordered by some of the most densely populated coastlines. Unlike the Pacific, it had no dedicated tsunami warning system in 2004. And many communities had never experienced a tsunami in their living memory. On that Sunday morning, the beaches of Sumatra, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and India were all full of life. Fishermen headed out before dawn, tourists swam near the resorts, and families gathered at the markets. None of them could see the invisible tension building miles below the sea floor. At 7:58 a.m. local time, an enormous rupture began about 160 kilometres off the western coast of Indonesia. The fault line, part of the Sundra megathrust, tore open over the course of about 1,300 kilometres. The Indonesian plate lurched beneath the Burma plate, lifting the seabed by as much as 20 metres in some places. The earthquake measured between 9.1 and 9.3 on the moment magnitude scale. It's the third strongest earthquake ever recorded by modern instruments. It lasted up to 10 minutes, releasing energy to the equivalent of 23,000 Hiroshima bombs. The violent shift displaced trillions of tons of seawater. In a moment, a tsunami was born. In deep water, tsunami waves are barely noticeable. Just a long swell, perhaps a metre high. But they move fast. Over 500 miles an hour, that's the speed of a commercial jetliner. As they approach the shallow coastal waters, their speed drops, but the height of the waves increase dramatically, transforming into towering walls of water. Indonesia's Aceh province was the closest to the epicentre. The first waves arrived in Banda Aceh within 15 to 20 minutes after the quake. Without warning, the oceans retreated, exposing the seabed. Some curious onlookers walked out to investigate. Moments later, a black, roaring wall of water surged ashore. Entire neighbourhoods vanished. The ships hurled inland, and thousands were swept away. Two hours later, waves up to 30 feet high slammed into Thailand's Andaman coast. This included popular tourist areas like Phuket. People on holiday with camcorders there captured some of the first widely seen footage of the tsunami, showing waves sweeping through hotel lobbies and tossing cars around like toys. Sri Lanka's eastern and southern coasts were absolutely devastated. Trains were overturned, entire fishing fleets disappeared, and in India's Tamil Nadu, thousands were dead within minutes. Six hours after the earthquake, the waves had breached the coasts of East Africa, Somalia, Kenya, and Tanzania. And at this point they were still powerful enough to kill hundreds more people. The tsunami ultimately affected 14 countries across 2 continents, and the global death toll would surpass 230,000 people, with Indonesia suffering the greatest loss of life. In the aftermath, Stunned survivors searched for family members amid the wreckage and mud. Hospitals overflowed, roads were gone, and clean water was scarce. International aid began to pour in: food, medicine, and rescue teams from dozens of countries. The scale of destruction overwhelmed governments and relief organisations alike. But behind the numbers are countless personal stories. Parents who lost children, children who lost parents, and entire fishing villages wiped off of the map. Yet amid the tragedy, there are acts of heroism that emerged. Villagers who ran door to door to warn neighbours, resort staff who led tourists to high ground, and people forming human chains to rescue strangers. So what did we learn following the disaster? Well, before 2004, the Indian Ocean had no regional tsunami warning system. Unlike the Pacific, there were no deep ocean sensors or coordinated emergency protocols. This disaster triggered a massive international effort to change that. Today, there are more than 60 deep ocean buoys and hundreds of coastal tide gauges that monitor the Indian Ocean. Earthquake data is analysed in real time and alerts are sent within minutes. Countries have built evacuation routes, installed sirens, and held community drills. Scientists have also improved computer models to predict how tsunamis travel and which areas are most at risk. 2 decades later, the scars remain. Some communities never fully recovered, but many were rebuilt stronger. New homes are built further away from the shoreline, and mangrove forests are being restored as natural buffers. There are also annual remembrance ceremonies to honour those who did pass away. The Indian Ocean tsunami stands as a stark reminder of nature's power, but also of human resilience. Knowledge gained from this disaster has already saved lives in later tsunamis, including events in Samoa, Chile, and Japan. Preparedness, education, and early warning mean the difference between survival and catastrophe. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was a wake-up call from the sea. In minutes, it showed how interconnected and vulnerable we all truly are. But it also sparked global cooperation and innovation to prevent further disasters like this one. By remembering the past, we honour the victims and prepare for the future. You've been watching Nightmare Situations, and if you find this story interesting or useful, then please like, share or subscribe, because remember, sometimes reality is scarier than any nightmare. Thank you for watching.